and welcome to Biz Files. I'm Rosanne DeTorres, and I'm the host of Biz Files. Biz Files is the talk show for business owners by business owners, where you'll get tips and insights from successful entrepreneurs who reveal their secrets to success and the pitfalls to avoid. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out in business, Biz Files offers business owners strategies for starting and scaling your business. Learn to think like an entrepreneur with Biz Files. Please check out my website at www.bizfiles.tv for information about future editions of Biz Files and tantalizing information and resources for entrepreneurs. Joining us today is Clelia Pergo. Clelia has spent most of her career in the legal profession, most recently as the co-founder and chief operating officer of Goldberg Law Group. The organization and the people, processes, and technologies that support it have been a constant focus for her throughout her career. And her colleagues attest that she is the force behind Goldberg Law's rapid growth, from pricing to business development to bringing the firm's mission, vision, and values to life. Clelia has provided inspirational leadership and modeled the intractability it takes to stand up to challenges and facilitate business growth. She is also the owner and founder of Lex Firma Consulting, in which she helps attorneys adopt the best practices that will help them develop professionally and successfully shepherd their firm's growth. She's also an author of The Law Firm Revolution. And she's also the CEO of Elder Pro Network, a networking resource for professionals in the elder care industry. Please help me welcome Clelia. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So your background is so interesting. How did you get involved in becoming the founder and chief, let's say, inspiration behind an elder care law firm?
So professionally, I'm one of those people that have tried everything under the sun. I've been a hairdresser. I've worked at an architectural firm, managed a dentistry practice. I've even worked at one of the largest Italian-American nonprofit service organizations. But Eric and I had met at our prior firm, and he had decided to go out on his own to service the clients a bit differently than the firm that we were currently at. And I went along with him.
That's amazing. So what made you decide to do that, though?
Honestly, it was just organic. There was no spark or particular conversation. As much as it's not a good story, Eric didn't inspire me to leave. It just organically happened.
And so were you interested in elder care issues before that?
No, to be honest, I really didn't even know that was a practice of law. I surprisingly was going through it at the same time that we had started the firm. My grandmother that raised me, that was a mom to me, she went into ICU that week, actually, and had 3 organ failures. So I was going to be experiencing a long-term care crisis along with our clients.
That could have easily provided a lot of inspiration for you to understand exactly what other people, especially your clients, are going through when they come to your firm. So tell me, what do you do now for the firm?
So I look at everything as like a 3,000-foot overview. I try to make sure that the procedures that I've put in place are being followed, the clients are being serviced in a timely manner. It's really important for me to be proactive with the clients. I want them to get the feeling that we care, and just anything from our marketing to the finances, really just touch a little bit of everything. I'm kind of like the quarterback.
And so from what I see of your operations, because I have had some personal experience with your firm, you're very process driven, and you have created a lot of processes, much like a franchise would, that sort of orders the operations of your business in a very consistent way, regardless of who's executing. So tell me a little bit about that and how you came up with that concept of doing your business.
So I was lucky enough to start the practice. So I think that makes it so much easier that I really can work on everything from the ground up. And a lot of the administrative duties are truly monotonous. So I wanted to create procedures that eliminate a lot of the mistakes and give the staff a little bit more freedom and confidence to be more creative and more compassionate when dealing with the clients.
So give me an example of some overarching processes that you created that you think contributed to that policy.
Okay, so one thing that is just general for everybody is my inbox theory. So it's in my book. I think anybody, no matter what you do, I think can utilize this. Our emails kind of control what we do throughout the day. You can get hung up on your emails, whether it's the new ones coming in or the ones that you didn't answer or the ones that you're looking for. So my inbox is a to-do list. So the theory is out of sight, out of mind. So whatever's in your inbox, you are to do, there's some sort of action needed. So for instance, if someone in the firm emails me that I need to call a client, that email stays in my inbox. As soon as I call that client, or it is not my responsibility because the staff has gotten a detailed message on what that client needs and it's actually not my responsibility, I will then forward it to a staff member. And once I forward it to the staff member, it goes out of my inbox into a subfolder. So it's never eliminated. It's just out of sight, out of mind. And now it's in someone else's inbox and they know that they have to take care of it.
I also find that I can easily, in the mornings especially, get sucked right into my email inbox and start attacking what's in there one by one. How do you avoid that in your day? Do you have a system where you just look at your emails only at certain times of the day? How do you avoid that constant, especially now with Microsoft Outlook, which we use? There's a fading notification that I get that I had to turn that off because it would, no matter where I was in my desktop, I could see that I got a new email and then I would rush over to my inbox and check it out. And then have to reorient myself to whatever it was I was working on. So how do you avoid that? What is your process in the morning?
So remember, I know that a lot of people, a lot of attorneys also, when I first go into their firms and I tell them this theory, they get very overwhelmed and they feel like they have to go through all of their emails. To be quite honest and realistic is those emails, I tell them, select all and move into a subfolder called old emails. Realistically, those emails are probably lost. They're probably not going to answer them. So let's just start fresh. And starting fresh is so much easier. You can always go back if you're really bored and you can go back to those emails and you can answer them, but start off fresh. And then as the emails come in, for instance, if I go to a meeting, when I come back, I have 30 emails.
Right.
First thing that I do is I go through and eliminate, literally delete all the ones I get notifications from my child's school about photos, delete those, spam, delete those, and then it leaves me with, 7 or 8 emails that I actually have to attack. And I go by not necessarily importance, but how quickly I can respond to them. Emails that are within an organization are quick responses because you don't need to necessarily elaborate or worry about punctuation and, all of that. So get those out of the way. And then you can go on to the more difficult ones. So that's kind of the strategy that I use.
Now, how did you have experience in the way franchises operate? And how did you figure out that the way a franchise might operate in terms of creating processes to drive operations would apply to a law firm setting?
I just think that franchises, they just have something. They're able to replicate a model without an actual human there, right? Everything's automated. So just the concept itself is genius. I'm a big fan of the E-Myth. So
same. Yes.
Yeah. So I think everybody should read the E-Myth.
Agree.
And I just think that if something is genius, you can mirror it in other forms. So why not use it for a law firm?
What other automated systems do you use to streamline your operations?
A lot of forms. So for instance, when someone calls and, a lot of us have this where, they fill out almost as an intake sheet, but I always say it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So the intake sheet is important in that it's a guide, but it's not necessarily a questionnaire. So when someone calls, they're going through a crisis. We deal with families that are aging. So usually the children are calling and they have diarrhea of the mouth. So you let them talk. And then you kind of, when they're finished, you fill in the hole. So those are kind of examples as they go along the process of different forms we have. And we have a lot of tickler systems since we try to be proactive to make sure that we're not forgetting about people, 6 months, a year, even 5 years down the line.
And so how do you think that's made a difference in how your clients are affected versus, say, how their experience is with other law firms?
So we are big believers in creating raving fans. So you have to look at each experience, not all the experiences together, and kind of, see the best percentage that you get out of it, right? So out of 10 people, if you please 6, you have a good rating. You can't look at it that way. You have to look at each individual experience. And if you can create a raving fan out of each experience, I think that's what drives us. It lets us put our head, it lets us go to sleep at night pleasantly. And it all has to do with our brand. Our brand is very important. My grandfather always used to say, at the end of the day, you only have your name. So when you say something, you have to do it.
That really resonates with me too, because one of the ways that we created our unique selling proposition as a law firm was also to focus on the microcosm of the client's experience with our firm in the most granular way, from what our parking lot looks like when they drive in to how they're greeted, what the interior premises look like, from every touch that they have with our firm, whether it's face-to-face or by electronically, by email or our website, or how we speak to them on the phone. All of those experiences were examined kind of under a microscope. I called it micromanaging the client experience. And it sounds a lot like what you're talking about.
I have had experiences with your firm also, and we are very alike, and I can imagine that all of your clients are raving fans of yours.
I hope so. So tell me, we have plenty of raving fans, and I'm grateful for that. So how could other law firms take advantage of the knowledge that you have? What would you suggest to them?
They can read my book. So
tell me about your book and how that came to pass.
So, it's strange because here I am, not an attorney, co-founder of one. So I really had to do my due diligence in making sure that I was seen and respected as Eric's partner. Mm-hmm. So I came up with all these processes and procedures for our firm, and I feel like that is our differentiator. And my grandmother is my why. So I'm passionate about it. And I wanted to give that to other law firms because I feel like attorneys they're such knowledgeable people, and they really get a bad rap because they're so consumed by all of these responsibilities that they didn't go to school for. I mean, you and others have $400,000 or more in debt from your education. And it's hard because you can't practice law most of the time. You have to be a manager or a babysitter, or, be involved in all these administrative responsibilities. And if you had more tools in your toolbox to give you an opportunity to really practice law rather than all of these other things. I mean, you guys are truly social workers, and I wanted to give you the ability to be seen as trusted advisors.
It's been my life's experience as an attorney and managing my firm that we really weren't given the tools in law school to learn how to operate a business. But I can safely say that learning about how to run my business, my firm like a business, has been really the most interesting part of my work, because it's about creating something. Surely, solving people's family law problems is rewarding. Don't get me wrong, and we're very good at it, and we have a great track record. But really, the most rewarding part of my work has been creating something that can actually run without me even being there. And can you speak to that a little bit about whether the processes and systems you put into place have allowed you to be more flexible about whether you're physically present in the office?
Absolutely. I think that it's my professional background that speaks for itself. I wouldn't be able to have Lex Firma or have written a book or do all of these entrepreneurial experiences without these processes. So I have to give it to my staff. I have an amazing team, but I've also built a great foundation for them. And together it's given everybody, myself, the team, as well as clients, just an amazing experience.
Tell me about Lex Firma. What is it, and how can it help our audience?
So I created Lex Firma because I was being asked about the processes and procedures and what do I do, and maybe you can come to my office and kind of get me organized and streamline some processes for me. So I was like, I have to start a consulting company because I can't possibly be doing it just for fun in my spare time as much as I like doing it. So that's what I do. I go to law firms or individual attorneys or attorneys that want to start their own practice, and I kind of help them get focused and streamline some of their processes or lack thereof, and to try to give them a more balanced quality of life.
So how do you stay inspired in your work? What inspires you the most?
So my grandma she's my why, she's my everything. I have her all over my office. I'll show you this. My team got me this for
beautiful
my birthday. So I have gone through the experience myself. Unfortunately, I guess. I was a caregiver for 6 years, and it is an emotional time for people. So I think perspective in life is very important. And unless you've walked the walk and talked the talk, you don't have that perspective. And as much as you want to understand others, you can't. And I luckily can understand what the clients' families are going through. So I try to incorporate that into our processes. And patience is a virtue I did not have until my 2 little boys came along. So I have to say they are what inspires me also, because they have taught me. It's amazing that a 4.5 and a 2-year-old can teach you more about life than any book imaginable. So
how do you do it all? How do you manage a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and a spouse and being the chief operating officer of a successful law practice? How do you do all that? How do you balance?
So I don't know if I have balance. It's on my vision board to get balance. But I just think that I keep going, and I don't stop. I'm lucky in that I understand the value of life because somebody so close has been was taken away from me at such a young age. You know, I'm only going to be 34. So I just feel like I have to get it all in while I can. So I don't know if I have balance, but I tend to get everything done.
You know, I heard somebody recently say that too, that it's not about balance at all, that when you're, you know, that you have seasons of your life where obviously you have to spend time with and focus on children because that's the time that they need you. And then as they get older, perhaps you'll spend more time focusing on your career and your business. So I kind of look at it that way too. My daughter is grown now, so I don't have those responsibilities at home, but I remember being unable to do as much as I really wanted to with my business when she was young, because, you know, obviously that was more important at the time. So tell me about your business mentor. Who has been your greatest business mentor and why?
So I'd have to say my partner. We're yin and yang, they always say, brother or sister or work wife and husband, you know, all these cliches. But we are very different. I mean, I gave you my age. He's 15 years older. We're just, you know, he's from Long Island. We just come from two totally different backgrounds, but we complement each other so well in that when we have a disagreement, we talk through it. So again, perspective. I always get the other side of my argument with him.
It sounds like a great partnership then.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you tell your 14-year-old self if you could? The one thing.
So definitely study. I should have valued the education system at a younger age. I think I would have possibly been an attorney, since that's always what I aspire to do. Studying is just so important. I mean, you can learn so much. So definitely study.
What one thing do you do every day to stay motivated?
I look at my vision board. I have everyone on the team do vision boards to clarify and be able to see our dreams. When I heard the concept of a vision board years ago, I was like, oh, that's silly. Like it was almost like an art project. But in the last 2 years, not with myself so much, but with my team, I've seen what's on their vision board and I've seen them accomplish it. And it's just so amazing to be able to be a part of that and to see them succeed and really enjoy life.
Do you go back at the end of the year to see if your vision has sort of come true?
Yeah. So I take pictures of everybody's vision boards. I put them away. I also follow up with them throughout the year. So usually quarterly or every 6 months. And they're on our desks. So we're constantly looking on it. That is a rule that it has to be.
It's a visual reminder. That's great. Yeah. Tell my audience the defining characteristic of your brand. So I think the defining characteristic is working on our core. The team is really what makes us, and we try to work on ourselves each and every day, both personally and professionally, between the vision boards and our processes, and even talking about when we make mistakes and how to better ourselves or the process each time. So I think that no matter how big or good you get, you always have to realize that there's something to work on. Do you have a favorite quote?
So ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do, and attitude, it determines how well you do it.
I love it. And finally, we're running out of time, so please let my audience know how they can find you.
They can always find me at clelia@goldbergplanning.com, or they can call me at my office, 973-228-1795.
So we're out of time today, and I'd like to thank Clelia Pergo for joining me on Biz Files. And to everyone listening or watching, thank you for joining me for this edition of Biz Files, the talk show for business owners by business owners. Until next time, I'm Rosanne DeTorres, and you can always get some more information about Biz Files at www.bizfiles.tv. Bye for now.